मैं आपको बता रही हूँ, आई थिंक आई स्टार्टेड बरिंग मोर अबाउट द वर्ल्ड वंस आई थिंक आई ग्रू अप एंड केम टू बॉम्बे एंड आई सॉ द एक्चुअल वर्ल्ड. बट एज अ पर्सन आई यूज टू लिव इन अ बबल. म्यूजिक डायरेक्टर एक्चुअली टोल्ड मी while I was in Viva कि आपका क्या गला खराब है. I had to underplay my clothes when I would go to a studio. One, for safety reasons, so that I'm not looked at a certain way. Also to be taken seriously, because you can't be good looking and be a singer. You can't be sexy and be a singer. You can't be glamorous and be a singer. So I faced that for many years. I was a famous nobody, with very limited work. So my struggle was I was trying to fit in a world I didn't really belong in, which is Bollywood. I felt like I got ostracized because no one wanted to work with me because wo ladaki hai, that struggle was there for sure. There's an innate sadness in me of leaving home. Even after Bigg Boss, the trauma I went through, or the nights I've been through, or the anxieties I've gone through, they were not there for it. Oh mera mahi milya, babul chuteya, babul pulna maina.
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk with Bollywood Bubble. The guest who's joined us today is somebody जिनके लिए अगर मैं कहूँ तो जैसे बचपन में हम एक सपना देखते हैं कि बड़े होकर हम ये करेंगे. This guest is actually living that dream. And no matter what, for me, she's been the game changer in the music industry because she always has that charm in her voice. Whenever be it a live performance, be it in a film, we are always mesmerized when Neha Bhasin takes onto the mic and sings. So welcoming Neha amongst us on the show.
Thank you so much, Nawaz. What a lovely introduction. It's very rare in today's time for people to use eloquent language to express themselves, and very refreshing to hear that. Thank you.
Absolutely. But tell me, how have you been?
I've been good. I think life is for me, it's a mixed bag of emotions every day. It's just who I am as a person. So I take each moment as it comes. So like in the morning I was a bag of nerves.
Okay.
And right now I'm very happy. And in the next 1 hour I might change again. So like.
But the Neha who's sitting here right now at this moment, how was she as a child?
In one word, मेरी नानी चंचल बोलती थी मुझे.
Okay.
You know what is चंचल?
Yes.
तो चंचल, ये चंचल है, इसका ध्यान रखो. Because I was always very manmauji, dreamer, also very naughty, talkative, अपनी धुन में रहने वाला बच्चा.
Wow.
So I was very much like that. Also intense.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember that also. Very sensitive.
But I think so that's a very creative person trait also कि कहीं ना कहीं on the exterior you might be very naughty, you might be free spirited, full of life, but there is this depth in you.
Yeah.
And that is what also reflects very well in your music. A lot of times I think so 90% of the songs I can point that reflect on. But you started singing at the age of 9.
Yeah.
What happened? How did it all happen?
It all actually seems like a story I tell myself sometimes, because some of it does sound like that. But there are things I remember very clearly. I was not very loved by my teachers in school. So, somewhere I feel potentially it started from there, that when the first time I was validated as an existence in school, so to speak, was in class 3rd. And Sound of Music was a film we all loved. So हमारे स्कूल में Mr. Dias थे, music teacher, and he used to make us do the scales. So do re mi fa sol la ti do di la so fa mi re do. So I was as always talking. So he was like, stand up and sing the scale. And I was used to always being kind of reprimanded or singled out. तो मैंने गाया, और मैंने जैसे गाया वो चुप हो गए. फिर उन्होंने बोला कि sing again, and then he said that you have a voice of an angel. And I was like, I'd never heard something nice about myself so far in school, So I think from that day I became very dedicated in that class. So it all started from there. Like I would just be hooked on to everything he would say and everything he would do. And I still remember his fragrance. Like, he was a very handsome man. Like, and as a child, you have हमेशा वो, you idolize your father, you
right.
idolize, those teachers who love you. And there is it's a very girly feeling, but also it's very fatherly, like kind of a thing. So फिर 4th में जब हम गए तो we had annual day function, and he wanted to give me a solo to sing. I was 9 at that time, and he introduced me to Michael Jackson. So he introduced me to Beatles and Simon and Garfunkel and all of those artists of that time. So हमें तब पता भी नहीं था ये कौन है, हम तो बस गाने गा रहे थे, Yellow Submarine, Yellow Submarine, Hard Days and Night, Beatles, and then Sound of Silence was one of my favorite songs as a child. I didn't know who Simon Garfunkel was. All thanks to him. So वहाँ से शुरू हुआ. उन्होंने बोला कि we have to all like kind of listen to this album called Dangerous by Michael Jackson and we all have to purchase it. So हमने खरीदा और मैं I was mesmerized. ऐसे ये क्या है? मतलब what is this? You know, what kind of magical world is this?
Yes.
And though I had seen Thriller as a child, my father used to, so my family was also very musically inclined. Papa had Madonna's albums, he used to have Thriller ka, you know, क्या कहते हैं, making and all. तब तो डर लगता था because at that time I didn't know what it was. It's the 80s when I was still a child in the 80s. So I discovered properly Michael Jackson with the album Dangerous. And in Black or White and Heal the World, he gave me a solo part to sing.
So probably it was a by chance encounter that we can say your teacher discovering you.
I don't think anything in this world is by chance.
Okay.
I do believe in synchronicity of destiny. I do believe that I was meant to do this in this life because the fire in me was so strong to be an artist, to be a pop star, to grow up and do something in music, to make my name, to be a great, you know, to be a part of greatness in this world. Like fame का सिर्फ नहीं था, of course वो तो मेरे को ऐसा था as a child कि fame तो comes with it.
Right.
वो तो मतलब वो होना ही है ना, वो तो like सब इतनी समझ नहीं होती है. But the whole thing of the magical world of music, you know, of being a musician, or being on stage, or being under those lights and singing and dancing and like, so those things I was very mesmerized by. And this is the 90s when MTV Channel V has just come to India. You know, you're getting global music. The CDs are all mixtapes. So, you know, it's not just pop or rock. It's all pop, rock, new, disco, whatever. Everything is like kind of mixed. So I grew up in a very mixed era of music.
Right.
You know, even in Bollywood, things were evolving. A.R. Rahman was coming to India. To Bombay. And, you know, that whole Roja era, Hamma. Like everything was changing.
Correct.
Then 90s pop stars, Alisha Chinoy. So this is a very magical time, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Where globally things were shifting a lot, you know. So we were witnessing that. So I think for me it was कि मुझे बड़े होके यही करना है. I want to grow up and be a pop star. Like,
but family से encouragement was always there.
See, it's not like they ever discourage me, but sometimes you feel like ये तो ठीक है, तो बच्चे हैं, तो उनकी ड्रीम हर एक साल में चेंज हो जाएगी. That they never scoffed it. I don't think anybody ever humiliated me or laughed at it or whatever. And my conviction was very strong. You know, it's not like I was somebody who was whimsical who changed my dreams every day. लोग होते हैं ना कि आज कंडक्टर बनना है, आज पायलट बनना है. मेरा ऐसा नहीं था. मेरा बड़ा consistent था. And then my mother also saw my dedication. Like even though I wasn't really training in music, but जब भी स्कूल में कोई competition है whatever, तो I was always participating. I was always very serious about those competitions. I was one of the youngest in school as a soloist. Even in my college I was a soloist. I in fact entered college through extracurricular activity. So मेरा वो dedication देख के mom dad को लगा कि ठीक है, let's support her. So you know, if I wanted to take a dance lesson, and at that time things were expensive. Like I'm saying, इतना आसान नहीं होता. 500 रुपये की एक 1 hour की मेरी music lesson होती थी. Like which I wanted to take. वो भी opera था जो मुझे बिल्कुल समझ नहीं आया. Honestly speaking, I had such a husky voice that I couldn't understand वो क्या बोल रही है. You know, कैसे करना है.
But you know, the reason why I asked you about this encouragement from the family is because कहीं ना कहीं, you know, हम सब वो culture से आते हैं जहाँ 4 लोग क्या कहेंगे is like a bigger deal than, you know, our passion at times. So कहीं ना कहीं have you ever faced that situation कि अरे तुम्हें सिंगर बनना है, 4 लोग क्या कहेंगे?
Honestly, musically नहीं. Maybe for other things or whatever. And for some reason, मैं आपको बता रही हूँ, I think I started worrying more about the world once I think I grew up and came to Bombay and I saw the actual world. But as a person, I used to live in a bubble.
Okay.
You know, like there was a bubble that I created for myself, and in that bubble I'm a star and everything that I want is going to happen. So I was a very natural manifester, so to speak, in that sense, which I realize now. I don't think I realized it then. And you know, somewhere along the way, after लोगों की बातें सुन के, failures देख के, struggle देख के, वो I actually lost my bubble for many years.
Okay.
And it made me realize much later that how actually I was a natural manifester and I was a natural dreamer and I knew how to create my own world, and that's how I did it. And when I had to redo it, I couldn't do it for many years, to be honest with you. I couldn't do it. It took me a really long time because वो innocence से आया था. And once your innocence is broken, now you're conscious, you know. When I say conscious, I don't mean like conscious, consciousness, like now you're aware. And once awareness comes in, there's corruption in your system, you know. That's what I experienced.
Yes.
So now I'm a bit more careful about what my thoughts are, what am I thinking, and what do I want, and how am I manifesting it.
Also, you know, I want to know, how did this breakthrough in Bollywood happen, and was it easy?
No. See, again, this is a very different time in Bollywood,
Right.
right? Like when I started singing, I was a pop star. Viva
Yes.
was a pop band.
Yeah.
It was, a lot of people don't understand because today people don't understand the demarcation, but pop music that अभी सब same हो गया.
हाँ.
तब प्लेबैक सिंगिंग प्रॉपर प्लेबैक सिंगिंग थी, प्रॉपर गायकी वाले लोग जो सीख साख के आए थे म्यूज़िक, जो किसी भी तरह का जॉनरा गा सकते थे, जो क्लासिकल भी गाते थे, वो तरह का ज़माना था वो. व्हेन यू आर स्टिल कमिंग फ्रॉम द लता जी ब्रिगेड टू लाइक मतलब उनके बाद लता जी के बाद जैसे अलका याग्निक और कविता कृष्णमूर्ति, लाइक ऑल दीज, एंड देयर आर सर्टेन टाइप्स ऑफ वॉइसेस which I didn't have. So obviously there was no welcome, like, hey, welcome, this new voice has come. Like, no, I mean, a music director actually told me while I was in Viva कि आपका क्या गला ख़राब है. तो ऐसा नहीं, मेरा गला ही ऐसा है, नहीं आपकी आवाज़ ऐसे क्यों निकल रही है. So there was a lot of rejection of sort. Like there was a brigade, like Sandeep Chauhan, who said that you have a husky beautiful voice in Viva, but then the most of the playbacks का जो music director थे, they didn't have an open mind to voices like mine. So even though there were a lot of great voices, उनके लिए गाने नहीं बन रहे थे.
At the same time, so while this was one part of the journey, as a woman, was there a different level of struggle that you probably faced in breaking through and making a name in this industry?
I think, yeah, I mean, if you speak first technically, because I was a husky, much lower voice,
Yes.
right? To sing with a man was difficult because you need a much higher range of voice for that. This is a technical problem. और इंडिया में वो गाने ज़्यादा बनते थे. तभी आपकी, if you hear the women's voices were thinner, they could more soprano voices, basically. If I put it technically, soprano voices. Wherein my voice is more like a bass or a mezzo. It's like I come in the low mid range of voices.
Correct.
Naturally, जो मेरी range थी वो मैंने बढ़ाई है अब गा के. तो उनके लिए बड़ा मुश्किल था कि कहाँ आप fit होते हो. Like I said again. और उसके अलावा यार एज अ वुमन तो मतलब अभी व्हेन पीपल से यू प्ले द वुमेन कार्ड, बट इट्स नॉट दैट सिंपल. इट इज़ नॉट सिंपल फॉर वुमेन, एंड स्पेशली अगेन एट अ टाइम व्हेन ये ज़माना बहुत बदल गया है, आज फिर भी बदल गया है. बट मॉडर्न वुमन अकेले रहते हो. आई हैड टू अंडर प्ले माई क्लोथ्स व्हेन आई वुड गो टू अ स्टूडियो. One, for safety reasons, so that I'm not looked at a certain way. Also to be taken seriously, because you can't be good looking and be a singer. You can't be sexy and be a singer. You can't be glamorous and be a singer. Like those criteria don't match. Especially like if you're a Bollywood singer, if you're a playback singer. And
stereotypes and judgments when it comes to women are very quick to be formed.
मतलब आपको अच्छा क्यों दिखना है अगर आप सिंगर हो तो. और हमारा तो जो starting, ironically in Viva, they were so hung up on the way we looked, on what we ate, on what we wore. We had makeup on our faces 24/7 to now I have to underplay it, I have to underdress it. From pop now I have to sing more Indian singing. Like it was a lot of conflicts. If I was probably, I'm just saying, born in the West, I would have written my own music, done my own music. There was no such thing back in the day. With the end of Viva was the demise of pop, because we kind of held on to the fag end of whatever was called pop music then.
Right.
ये तो अब Punjab industry is kind of coming up again. And non-film is also kind of taking center stage, but for so many years where was it? It wasn't there. So imagine you've come to Bombay, you've made it, but you've not really made it because now the band is no more. You don't want to be with the band, and playback singing does not want you because you don't fit in, and there's no pop music. Nobody wants to release your music. So what do? You're 20 years old, you've left your college, you come to Bombay, and now you don't know what to do. You're a famous nobody.
Right.
So I faced that for many years. I was a famous nobody.
Then what changed the game?
It took a long time.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was, for people, I was in oblivion for many years. I'm saying, if so to speak, like, मेरा पहला गाना आया था, अगर आप स्ट्रगल की बात कर रहे हैं तो, एंड अगेन मैं ये हमेशा बोलती हूँ कि स्ट्रगल ना सिर्फ पैसे का नहीं होता. आई अंडरस्टैंड कि खाना और पैसे से ऊपर कुछ
Survival
नहीं
is
है,
not
पर 2-3 टाइम का खाना तो कोई भी कर सकता है. और रहना आप you can, हम सब छोटे छोटे घरों में रहे हैं बॉम्बे आने के बाद, because it's expensive in Bombay, everyone knows that. But sometimes it's struggle to find your voice in the industry, struggle to stay relevant, struggle to be a somebody, struggle to have success, struggle to stand by your scruples and yet make it. It's very difficult. It's very
also,
very difficult.
Being an outsider, meeting the right people is also a struggle.
Yeah, and also being labeled, finding the right songs.
Yes.
For actors, maybe finding the right roles. यू नो मे बी आप जब कर रहे हो आप शायद को करना ही नहीं है, यू नो मे बी आपको कुछ और करना है. लाइक फॉर एग्जाम्पल मुझे तो वेस्टर्न म्यूजिक गाना था, मुझे पॉप म्यूजिक गाना था. आई यूज्ड टू राइट माई ओन सॉन्ग्स, आई स्टिल डू, बट मुझे इंग्लिश म्यूजिक आता था. आई स्टिल नॉट रिलीज्ड इवन वन सॉन्ग. सो टेक्निकली व्हाट आई रियली वांटेड टू वो तो मैंने नहीं किया, है ना. बट मैंने म्यूजिक करा, पर जो मुझे म्यूजिक उस टाइम पे समझ आता था वो मैं नहीं कर पाई, बिकॉज आई वॉज लिविंग इन इंडिया एंड आई कुडंट. I always wanted to be a global pop star, but I couldn't do that. So my struggle was I was trying to fit in a world I didn't really belong in, which is Bollywood. उसके बाद पहला गाना मैं आपको बताती हूँ कि मैंने एक तो बुलेट एक धमाका करके एक स्टूपिड सी फिल्म में गाया था. एनीवे वो तो किसी को पता नहीं है. उसके बाद जो मेरा पहला प्रॉपर गाना आया, एक लुक. This is probably 2005 or 6.
Okay.
And the music director decided to not give me credit for it. एंड क्रेडिट द प्रोड्यूसर फॉर द फिल्म. ठीक है. और मुझे बैकिंग वोकलिस्ट का वो दे दिया. तो जब हमने फाइट करने की कोशिश करी तो मुझे दबा दिया. तो देन आई हैड टू फाइट द केस इन द कोर्ट. सो एट द एज ऑफ 23 आई एम फाइटिंग a case for credits, and now this case blew out of proportion and I had to put a stay order on the film and all of that. This is all happening again. I'm 23 years old
and probably in the initial days of the
I mean absolute initial ना, मतलब वीवा के बाद I was 21 when I left वीवा. उसके 2-3 साल के बाद. Anyway उसके बाद I felt like I got ostracized because no one wanted to work with me because वो लड़ाकी है. you know that struggle was there for sure. The whole case was very traumatic. You know, because suddenly now, like I told you, my bubble was bursting slowly. First it burst in Viva. कि लोग अच्छे नहीं होते हैं ना, लोग how people treat you and what all, like there are wolves at the door all the time. Then you know bad boyfriends and this ये जो आर्यन फिल्म का जो मेरे साथ हुआ. उसके बाद finally I got my first proper song in Bollywood was Fashion में, which is 2007.
कुछ खास है.
हाँ.
Yes.
It's so late. I mean, think about it, like, you're right?
Right.
Where I think still, you know, I felt like I didn't get my due. People loved the song, but they didn't know who I was.
Exactly.
I got nominated for but I didn't win it, which is okay. But I used to feel very invisible. This is that time when I felt very hurt, very alone, very like, कि मेरा कोई वजूद नहीं है इस दुनिया में, you know, मैं कुछ हूँ नहीं. I'm not seen. I felt very, very unseen.
You know, honestly, as a listener, for me, the very first encounter to Neha Bhasin's voice was in Dhunki Lage.
Which is 2012.
Yeah. And then when I went and I Googled and I was like, 1 second. Kuch Khas Hai has come before this and she's the singer.
Yeah.
So, you know, probably that journey of recognition
took its
own course of things. But once that establishment happened, did the opinions about this Ladaku hai changed?
I don't know. I'm telling you, I think till I actually मैं सच्ची बोलूँ, मैंने जब तक अपना इसका कोई कॉन्टेक्स्ट नहीं है, मतलब इन द सेंस पूरा कॉन्टेक्स्ट नहीं है. let me just roll back a little bit. जब मैंने जग घूमिया गाया राइट 2016 में, और मैंने अपना पहला फाइनली विन किया. अभी तक I had won awards for Dhunki. I had won, but at that time I don't know why a lot of people thought कि सुनिधि has sung it. Like you know, a lot of people kept saying that. तो again I felt कि मुझे मेरा credit नहीं मिल रहा, you know, like I felt कि what is the problem, like you know, why can't people just see me, or what am I doing? And every song I did in every industry was a hit. Every industry, whether I've sung in Tamil, Telugu or in Bollywood, चाहे मैंने 3 साल में एक गाना गाया हो, लेकिन ऐसा कोई गाना नहीं है जो मेरा हिट नहीं हुआ है, जो क्रेडिबल नहीं है, जो अपने पैर पे नहीं खड़ा हुआ. उसके बावजूद भी कभी किसी ने मेरे पीठ पे ना थप्पी बल्कि नहीं बोला कि यार you are a go-to singer, or we love you, or you know, like I always felt unseen. I don't know why what I did, and I think honestly this created a lot of pain and sadness in me. You know, it just kept bottling me, bottling up over the years, and making me feel more and more unseen, ostracized, alone and lonely in this industry. And I think because of which maybe I went more in a shell also, कि you know ठीक है ना, मतलब हम अकेले हैं तो हम अकेले ही ठीक हैं टाइप वाली एक mindset हो जाती है, और उसमें गुस्सा भी आता है. ऐसा नहीं, I had a lot of anger in me also, you know. It's very weird. And that's why I tell you manifestation, right? I was manifesting my own. I feel like the more shit was happening to me, the more I was manifesting it. I remember one of the awards, one of the actresses was like, you know how जब आप award देने जाते हो तो आप नाम बोलते हो, who are the nominees. वो मेरा नाम ही भूल गई बोलना.
Oh my god.
वो मेरा नाम ही. The other day I saw that actress somewhere and I looked at it and I was laughing sitting and I was like, oh shit, you know, like I mean of course I see it very differently today, but imagine कि what kind of a powerful manifester can I be that I am feeling so shitty about my life and I'm actually manifesting this woman has not said my name, she said everyone's name but mine and I didn't win that award also that day. So ये पता नहीं एक vicious cycle मेरे साथ बहुत साल चलते रहा है, you know, where I was like, but मैं अपना काम फिर भी हमेशा शिद्दत से करती थी. I never corrupted my work. That you'll never see in me. It's just not because I love what I do too much. And I feel it's my purpose on this earth. तो वो मैंने कभी बंद नहीं किया. बट फिर ये anyway, तो ये धुनकी का स्टोरी. तो उसके बाद जब जग घूमिया, जब मैंने अपना अवार्ड हाथ में लिया ना उस दिन, जबकि was never my dream. My dream was always the Grammy.
Yes.
बट पहली बार मुझे ऐसे लगा कि अच्छा अब आज शायद मैं कुछ हूँ.
I am seen today.
I am seen. I felt seen that day. And I remember I was very arrogant on stage. I looked arrogant now when I look back. But I know ना what I felt. पता बड़ा आसान होता है किसी को जज करना, हम भी करते हैं. बट किसी को पता नहीं उसके अंदर क्या भुजाल चल रहा है इतने सालों से. यू नो व्हाट इज दिस, ये क्या वोल्केनो उसके अंदर बर्स्ट हो रहा है. देन आई रिमेंबर आई सेड, यू नो, थैंक यू फॉर रिकग्नाइजिंग माई टैलेंट आफ्टर 15 years. Thank you so much. Wow. I just said this and I took it. Now people can say I was arrogant, but that's how I felt, and I've always said what I felt. I felt unseen for
and
whatever
probably
reasons.
It came from a certain place because of that journey you had been through.
I always felt I had to prove myself too much as a vocalist. जबकि मैंने कभी भी बुरा नहीं गाया है. मतलब मेरा my husband is also music director, right? So समीर बोलता है कि तू तभी भी, he's known me since I was a child. So you know, same circuit in Delhi, we were not friends. He said, babe, you sang well even then. He said, even when you came to make your first demo with me, he said you sounded phenomenal even then. Your styles have changed over the years because I had to adapt also, right? But he said you never sang badly. You were always a good artist. But somehow I didn't feel seen. And the more I'm talking to you, I'm realizing it.
But you know, somewhere being ziddi in a way also, I think so, helped you in becoming or coming into this throne that you are sitting on today. And why I say this is because in an era right now where Western influence on music is a lot. Okay, we have Neha Bhasin who's carved her niche through Punjabi music. Even your latest song for that matter,
yes.
Din Shagna.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been there, but a rendition. Like for example, your version of Chitta Kukkad is my favorite. हर शादी संगीत में नहीं जाना तो बजने ही वाला है. And you've given this entire makeover to Punjabi folk music and presented it to the world. So that in a way is carving your own niche, and I think so that is probably because you had this approach of never giving up.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Like
it is, and it's ironical as I'm listening to you कि again जो उसको pop star बनना था, western बनना था, वो मेरे dreams थे, और अब मैं क्या गा रही हूँ? If you think about it, right? Like मैं एकदम ही मतलब I'm like it's 360 change. But today, I wouldn't say I made my peace with it. I feel I found my voice.
right.
So strange that जो बच्चा अपने रूट से भाग रहा था पूरी जिंदगी, सी दिल्ली में पले बड़े, इंग्लिश स्कूल में पले बड़े, कॉलेज भी LSR, you know, like very well spoken and English से आप सडनली, मतलब मैंने तो बचपन में पंजाबी भी नहीं बोली है ज़्यादा, मेरे घर में बोलते थे, बड़े सारे बोलते थे, बट यू नो इन द सेंस कॉस्मो चिल्ड्रन डोंट ऐसे कुछ, मतलब हम हिंदू हैं, हम पंजाबी है, सब इट डजंट रियली मैटर टू अस, राइट? वी जस्ट वेरी मोल्डेबल, लाइक वेरी ब्लेंडेबल चिल्ड्रन, सो टू स्पीक. कहाँ मतलब वहाँ से अब मतलब ऐसा लग रहा है कि माई DNA इज काइंड ऑफ कॉलिंग मी, यू नो, एंड आई फील सो कनेक्टेड व्हेन आई सिंग फोक म्यूजिक. आई कैन नॉट एक्सप्लेन इट. It's like as if I was born to sing this, you know, and I just didn't know it. See, कोई तो reason होगा ना कि I'm saying कि मुझे बनना था global pop star. ऐसे तो हर कोई नहीं बन सकता. I get that point. But for some reason I was stuck here, and I wasn't being able to find my voice. You know, कि कुछ तो था, हर जगह से rejection कर रहे हैं लेकिन फिर भी नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, you know, whatever. I think वहाँ से जो journey शुरू हुई, Sameer was the one who pushed me. He just said one day कि you know at that time सब remixes गा रहे थे. This is like 2013. और मैंने कहा मुझे नहीं गाने remixes. Like I'm not going to. This is the last straw. Like I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah.
Like 90s के गाने जो मुझे पसंद भी नहीं है, मैं बैठ के गा रही हूँ, you know. So मैं नहीं करने वाली. तो उस टाइम पे we were signed up with like one of those digital companies, whatever. YouTube पे करो, ये करो, वो करो, सब कर रहे हैं. You know how everyone comes and gives you advice when they think that you're
वो सबको एक ही रेस में भागना रहता है.
हाँ मतलब अभी क्योंकि अभी आपने अपने को प्रूव नहीं किया तो सब आपको लेक्चर मारते हैं ना, बिकॉज एवरीबडी कैन टॉक यू डाउन. नॉट दैट आई एवर अलाउड इट, नॉट दैट आई एवर अप्रिशिएटेड इट, आई वाज ऑलवेज जिद्दी देयर आल्सो. बट चुभता है कि साला ये बैठ के मेरे को बता रहा है मुझे कैसे म्यूज़िक बनाना है. मैं 19 साल की उम्र में मैंने करा है बिना किसी की गाइडेंस के, राइट. सो समीर ने तब बोला, कमिंग बैक टू द नॉन एग्रो पार्ट, दैट सिंग फोक. आई यू मैड? आई डोंट नो फोक. आई डोंट सिंग फोक. आई डोंट डू folk. Do I look like I look folk? So he said, you know, we always obviously sing around the house and all. He picked up the guitar. I said, I only know Lathi Di Chadar. Right? Obviously, बच्चों की तरह तो हमने वही सुने होते हैं ना, जो आसान वाले होते हैं. So he said, sing. And Sam is a beautiful guitarist, you know, always. And also a lot of people don't know, when I started singing school, college में, I always sang more acoustic music. So I sang with guitars, I sang with piano. सो मेरे को आदत है, मुझे एक्चुअली बेटर लगता है एज अ सिंगर. आई एम मोर अट्यून्ड एंड आई हैव ग्रोन अप ऑन सिलीन डियोन एंड मराया एंड बेट मिडलर, ऑल वेरी मिनिमलिस्टिक म्यूजिक, यू नो, ग्रेट वोकलिस्ट. वी स्टार्टेड सिंगिंग लट्ठे दी चादर उते, एंड वो ना एक्चुअली वो गरबा के उसमें है जो असली पहले जिन लोगों ने बनाए हुए हैं. सैम वॉज प्लेइंग सम वेरी ब्यूटिफुल अकूस्टिक वेस्टर्नाइज स्ट्रिंग्स and I started finding my flow in it and I actually felt like I was singing in English, you know, because that's the kind of music I've always loved. तो मैंने उस तरह से गाना शुरू कर दिया जैसे मुझे आता है. तो हमने कहा नेक्स्ट डे वी वेंट टू आवर स्टूडियो, वी रिकॉर्डेड इट एंड आई एम टेलिंग यू दिस इज स्टिल अ टाइम एंड आई एम फीलिंग वेरी अनसीन, वेरी, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है हम गरीब हो गए हैं. मेरे अंदर से लग रहा है हम गरीब हो गए हैं. कहाँ तो मतलब मेरे उस ज़माने में 30-30 लाख के वीडियो बनते थे और आज हम लोग खुद ही कैमरा लेके अपना वीडियो शूट कर रहे हैं. मतलब लिटरली आई वोक अप इन द मॉर्निंग, मैंने H&M के शॉर्ट्स और वो पहने एंड वो जिस डिजिटल कंपनी के साथ है वो साइंड अप, वो लेके आए कोई कैमरामैन, उसने बहुत ही कचरा वीडियो शूट किया. सैम का आइडिया था, तो इसे फॉरगेट इट, वी नॉट गोना डू इट विद हिम. नेक्स्ट मॉर्निंग हम फिर उठे, हमने प्रैक्टिस किया. समीर बॉट अ फ्लाई बॉय पे, ही टोल्ड हिज असिस्टेंट टू राइड द बाइक, ही सैट उल्टा उसके ऊपर. आई सैट ऑन अ साइकिल. एट दैट टाइम वी डिडंट इवन हैव ब्लूटूथ, वी हैड द वायर्ड वन, सो आई हैड टू हाइड इट इन आवर शॉर्ट हेयर, सो आई हैड टू हाइड इट अंडर माई कैप and then put the phone in my back and just sing all through Bandra. I was cycling.
Wow.
And we shot the video. We put it out there on YouTube. That's how it started.
And did it blow out?
No, I mean it took some time, but the first day पे कुछ मतलब कुछ 10,000 टाइप व्यू आ गए थे उस टाइम पे. तो I was like, अरे मतलब people are liking it. करते आज की डेट में लट्ठे चादर के सिर्फ 2 मिलियन व्यूज ही हैं, बट वो सारे के सारे ऑर्गेनिक है. ओके, सो इट गिव अस सम कॉन्फिडेंस दैट यू नो, ओके, इट्स पीपल आर लाइकिंग इट, व्हाटएवर, मज़ा आ रहा है. फिर हमने बाजा सिट्टा किया. बाजा सिट्टा में आई एम नॉट किडिंग, आई जस्ट गॉट रेडी एंड वी वेंट, वी हैड वन टीवी सीरियल के DOP थे, उनको कैमरा दिया हमने, यहाँ खड़े हो जाओ, यहाँ शूट करो, यहाँ खड़े हो. समीर आइडिया वाज यू लाइक अ चार्ली चैपलिन इन टाउन. सो यू नो द होल वीडियो इज गोइंग फास्ट, लाइक, बट you know how he used to so basically that's how we shot it. We put it out there. That also did well. Third video mein finally someone came along and said let's collab, you put some money, I'll put some money, we'll give this for free, whatever करके नहीं जाना का वीडियो बना. ये मेरे फ्रेंड के ऑफिस में बना है वीडियो.
And then Chanmai J Studio happened, no?
नहीं, उसके बाद बना है मधानिया आई थिंक. And then Long Gavacha, a friend of mine, fully funded the video, who wanted a show reel. तो ऐसे ऐसे करके हमने मतलब वीडियोस बनाने और गाने बनाने शुरू करे. आई डोंट स्पीक ऑफ दीज थिंग्स वेरी ऑफन बिकॉज मेरे को ना वही लगा सर मुझे सिंपैथी नहीं चाहिए लोगों की. आई डोंट वांट इट बिकॉज मैंने जो किया अपने दम पे किया, अपनी मर्जी से किया है. एंड वेरी फ्यू पीपल हैव सपोर्टेड माई जर्नी. समीर बीइंग वन ऑफ देम, माई मदर बीइंग वन ऑफ देम, माई डैड बीइंग वन ऑफ देम. लाइक मॉम एंड डैड ऑब्वियसली इमोशनली, एंड folk is all mama. Folk is all mama. So yeah, I mean, but I mean this is a bit of what I'm telling you, but I want to say thank you to folk music. Something it did to me that made me feel I belong, you know.
And so, that's why probably Din Shagna is another ode to those roots.
Din Shagna is literally, it makes me cry, you know. Yes. And Din Shagna जो गाना है ना उसकी सिर्फ 4 लाइनिंग है. जो ओरिजिनल है उसमें इट्स जस्ट दिन शगना दा चढ़िया ओ सखियों नीवेड़ा सजिया मिलन वधाइयाँ नी सजन डोली लैके आना नीवेड़ा सजिया. सो दैट्स इट, राइट. तो ये बेसिकली गाया जाता है ये कॉलिंग आउट अपनी सहेलियों को, फैमिली को, टू कम सेलिब्रेट, राइट. आई एम रेडी. सो I'm getting goosebumps like while just talking about the
Yeah,
song.
listening to you, I got goosebumps.
I'm getting goosebumps. I always get goosebumps. कुछ सर तक हो रहे हैं. So anyway, तो जबकि यार मैंने खुद शादी ऐसी वाली नहीं करी है, but मैं बताती हूँ आपको कि मेरा कनेक्शन ना इससे शायद अपने माँ बाप का है. There is मैंने आज ही इंस्टाग्राम पे लिखा, there is an innate sadness in me of leaving home. You know, because मेरा एक दिन में बैग पैक करके I had to come to Bombay, right? They came to my house in Viva and said, you're selected. You have 24 hours to pack your bag, and I left, right? And then I went back home. So I never got time to process, and I bottled up that sadness for many years because I felt like I wasn't allowed to tell anybody that I'm unhappy. Because everyone said, like you said, you were living your dream. You had everything going for you. So whenever I told somebody anything sad, they would look at me like as if I'm ungrateful. तो ये गानों से ना मुझे वो, I think I feel that sense of nostalgia. Like I feel very connected to my parents. तो इस गाने में what we did is we rewrote, because there are no antras नहीं है ना इसमें, अंतरा तो है नहीं. तो I'll just sing. I mean, I just want to sing it because I want to tell you, like, ओ मेरा माही मिलया बाबुल छुटिया बाबुल पुलना मैना ओ तेनू छड़ पावे जा रहियां तेरी दुलारियां नाल टुरदी सारियां ओ साडा चिड़िया दा चंबा चंबा मारदा उडारियां. सो इन दिस शी सेइंग कि मुझे माँ ही मिल गया है लेकिन मेरा बाबुल छूट रहा है, मेरा घर छूट रहा है, यू नो. एंड अगेन इसको आप ना दोनों तरीके से देख सकते हो. फॉर मी आई फाउंड माई म्यूजिक बट आई हैड टू लीव बिहाइंड द लाइफ आई लव्ड. सो आई ऑल्सो सी इट लाइक दैट. आई डोंट जस्ट सी इट एज मैरिज,
Right.
you know. For me Madhaniya is not just marriage, it's leaving home, you know. I got married to music when I was 19, so I had to leave home for that. So Din Shagna is that.
Wow.
I think after hearing this, when people hear the emotion, like why do I feel emotional when I sing this song, is probably that.
Also, you know, kahin na kahin, like you mentioned that, you know, your appearances were always very judged by people.
Yeah, still is.
There was a moment, or you know, there was a time when a lot of trolling also came in.
Yeah.
And you know, you were body shamed. There was a part where you were also, you know, people judged you, and there was a lot of slut shaming remarks also that came in.
Yeah.
You know, when things like these come and people judge you just without knowing you, does that, to what extent did that affect you, and have you grown over it? Probably.
Of course it affected me, and I don't want to lie about it because I don't want somebody else who may be feeling affected right now to feel the need to be brave about it, you know. I think what affects, मुझे जो affect होता है ना वो ये होता है, लोग ऐसे सोच कैसे सकते हैं. I used to get very surprised कि how do people feel so brutal that they want to hurt people so much.
Right.
That's something I could never wrap my head around. Because like I told you, I was a dreamer, manifesto, always looking forward. Like when I grow up, I want to be like this celebrity. Whatever. I was always looking at achievers and wanting to be like them and not wanting to drag anybody down. That was never my natural mindset. Have I overcome it? I think to a large extent, yes. Because I think these people didn't put the food on my table.
Correct.
They didn't wipe my tears when I was alone. They didn't give me work. They weren't there when my dad passed away or when he had cancer and I had to literally every weekend go and look after him. They weren't there for my good or bad moments. They didn't live my life. They don't know who I am. And I do feel it's very sad that people feel it's more important to look at my outward appearance. Even today I feel that करते हैं और आज तो सबके साथ ही करते हैं. तो I'm like I'm not the anomaly.
No, you know, and the reason when I thought it got a little too much was during Bigg Boss OTT,
Yeah.
your friendship with Pratik was somewhere misconstrued, or you know, probably people misunderstood it, and I thought that judgment that time got a little too harsh.
It was, yeah, too harsh. I had one very difficult year after that, but I think it's okay now. It's over. But you know, I think I want to say one thing, that it was the last straw. And what Bigg Boss has given me is one thing. It's given me freedom
Absolutely.
to completely rise above human assholery, so to speak. I don't want to care anymore. Again, even after Bigg Boss, the trauma I went through, or the nights I've been through, or the anxieties I've gone through, they were not there for it. The people who were there are still with me, my husband, my family, my friends, and few people from the fraternity, and I think they're the only ones that matter. And of course, the true fans. You know, the true fans जो हैं वो तभी भी प्यार करते थे, वो आज भी करते हैं. And I think वही real fans होते हैं जो आपके सबसे पहले आपके म्यूजिक को प्यार करते हैं. See, I feel even if you don't love the person, you don't have to love me. You have to love my music.
Right.
You know, have an opinion on my music if you want to. Leave me and my life alone. So yeah.
When we as we sum up this conversation, I want to know the Neha who's sitting here today. You know, एक वो side है that you've proven your worth with all the songs that you've
I
sung.
still don't feel that word. That I've proven
so
my worth.
that is what I want to know. How emotionally evolved is this Neha who's sitting here today?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, you know, I think evolution is an everyday thing, you know. I mean, today morning also, I feel like I fight my anxieties and my demons every day. And I
Okay.
do, you know, and I am currently also, you know, healing from a mood disorder. And today, more than ever, I feel like there is so much of healing that needs to be done, you know. The more I'm doing it, the more I'm realizing it. That कितने सारे पुरानी चीज़ें हैं जो अभी भी मुझे जकड़ के रखती हैं कई बार, you know. I think I'm just honest about it. I think होता सबके साथ है.
Probably, yes.
But मुझे लगता है कि because मैं face कर रही हूँ, इससे मुझे ज़्यादा feel होता है. So, evolution is acknowledging and accepting that you're human.
True.
I think the dehumanizing of me and Bigg Boss made me realize that actually to be human is to just realize that you are a lot of things. And हर सुबह से लेकर रात तक कभी कभी पूरा दिन I'm okay and रात में इतनी एंजाइटी हो जाती है मुझे, मैं you know, like किसी चीज़ को लेके, and then I have to breathe again, calm down again. But that's because today I'm aware. I think earlier I was just braving through everything and being like I was at a war with the world. And today when that has quietened down, I can hear the war within myself. So I think I'm evolving every day, and best part is today I'm my most vulnerable self, and I allow it.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, I would just say that never change, because
Thank
you
you.
are an amazing person, a beautiful soul of
Thank
free
you.
spirit, and wish you all the very best for everything in life.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
It was a lovely chat. Hi guys, I'm Neha Bhasin, and you're watching me on Bollywood Bubble.